Saving Manila Bay. Manila Bay. It's situated in the capital of the Philippines, Manila. This bay used to once thrive in marine life and was safe for the public to swim in it. Today, because of a lack of education and government corruption in a country considered third world, has helped contribute and destroy the water quality and marine life of this harbour. Out of all of the Philippines, Manila Bay has scientifically been proven to have the most polluted waters and is now unable to sustain its natural environmental status, thus making this habitat unlivable to many aquatic species such as the whale shark shown here. Why is it though this bay is so polluted? What is the main reason behind it? To answer these questions there are multiple contributors, but one of the main problems would be that Manila ranks the sixth most populated city on Earth and has a population of over 11.6 million people, whilst metropolitan Manila has over 20 million people living in it. In saying this, the Philippines ranks the 12th most populated country and has a population of approximately 94,013,000 people living in a landmass of just 300,000 kilometers squared. In comparison, if you put Victoria and Tasmania together, this creates a landmass of just over 300,000 kilometers squared. So imagine putting 94 million people in Tasmania and Victoria together. Not a lot of room is going to be left over. In the early 1980s, Manila Bay had become of environmental concern to the public. This was due to the linkages of deaths of residences in the Metro Manila area who consumed contaminated shellfish that had been caught from the Manila Bay. People who also once swam in it ended up with different types of skin disorders and diseases. In January of 1999, a case in a regional trial court had opened due to many filed complaints from the public. This case then led up to the Supreme Court of the Philippines and orders were given to multiple government agencies to have Manila Bay regenerated to a sustainable environment. However, after 5 years those orders were given, nothing yet had been done, and still today nothing yet has been done. Many sources of pollution on a daily basis are making their way into Manila Bay. These include industrial companies that have total disregard for the environmental habitat. These companies are dumping heavy contaminants such as metals, pesticides, and other toxic waste, which is contributing to degrading the water quality, as these chemicals have created very low oxygen levels and high levels of ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, and phosphate, making it hard for most aquatic species to live in this area. Canals and rivers that run throughout the city, which connect with the bay, are also causing problems. These canals and rivers have the poor living in the slums along the banks and use the rivers as a waste and washing ground, thus further contributing to the pollution problems. These slums mainly have limited access to toilet facilities, so these rivers are full of human sewage waste and fecal matter. In saying this, some of these rivers, such as Pasig River shown on this map, are tidal, so they also pick up the pollution and have the currents carry away this waste out into Manila Bay. The Philippines has constantly dealt with governmental corruption. Many funds that are allocated to departments just end up in the pockets of the politicians. This has led on to a lack of development and housing throughout the Manila region, thus giving the squatters no chance to leave the slums. If the allocated fundings were used to help move the residences out of the slums, this would then help these rivers regenerate and pollution would start to decline. But if you compare these inner city waterways to a country such as here in Australia, it's because we are developed, we are able to have more of an influence in protecting our city's waterways by using proper infrastructure, and fundings allocated are used correctly. In me saying this all though, I have seen it firsthand. I have travelled to the Philippines 10 times and have not seen an improvement in Manila Bay or the pollution around the city. In the Philippines overall, it has some of the most pristine and clearest waters I have ever dived in. Here is a picture of Basul Island in the southern Philippines, where I was able to hire the island to myself for $7 Australian, and these photos also show how clear it is under the water. The reason I mention this is to prove a point across that all of the Philippines does not have polluted waters. If Manila Bay is to regenerate, the Filipino government is going to have to implement more strategies. Already, some community groups have come together to help save the waters of Manila Bay, but this is surely not enough. Education is going to be a key part in strategies of helping Manila Bay once again become a sustainable environment. This education will need to be delivered amongst schools and industrial companies, mainly the ones that have affected towards Manila Bay's water quality. The government will need to put strict laws in place to ensure that industrial companies stop the contribution of degrading Manila Bay's environment, and if in somewhat way they can turn them to be advocates to help contribute to the Manila Bay cleanup project. Some other key points that are going to be required are providing and managing correct waste facilities for the Metro Manila region, organizing volunteer cleanup days, government fundings and resources that are allocated to the cleanup project need to be used in the correct manner, not going into the pockets of corrupted personnel, and ensuring that the cleanup project is having a positive effect for the recovery, such as having water samples taken for scientific processing and research. Thank you.